Hello and welcome to another edition of Metropolitan Sports Radio. Today's show is going to be uh, quite a bit shorter, and it's broadcasted slightly later than our usual broadcast time, but we'll hopefully squeeze as much as we can in to the next 15 minutes.
Well, pretty eventful day today, huh, Jamie?
Uh-huh.
I think biggest news or biggest shock of the day was the Texas Rangers Angels game, which I think was even more amazing, I have to say, than the Mets comeback from 7-1 against the Nationals a few weeks ago. The Rangers were ahead by 4 runs in the top of the ninth, and the Angels rallied and scored 5 runs to win the game and deny Texas the division championship, at least for one more day, and the Angels are still in it.
So, which brings us to Gio's big question, which is the big story of the AL West and how everything will fall out. The AL West right now, two possibilities. One is the Rangers lose tomorrow, the Astros win tomorrow. Or the Rangers win tomorrow, the Astros win. Or just the Rangers win in general. Or they both win. Or if the Astros win tomorrow, the Rangers will have to win. If they lose, they'll have to play a tiebreaker for the division and the wild card game. And let me say this: you want to be in the ALDS. You do not want to be in the wild card game. Anything could go wrong. You don't want to go into that one game playoff. Lose or go home game. And so if that doesn't happen, then if the Rangers win tomorrow, then it'll be the Astros. If the Rangers win tomorrow, then I think the Angels lose. If the Astros lose also, they move on, I believe. But if the Angels, or it may be a tie, I think, for anyway.
You're confusing me.
If it's a tie between the Angels and the Astros, which is a big possibility also, then they'll have to play another game 163 of the season. By the way, this tiebreaker game will not count as a postseason game. It counts as game 163 of the regular season. So if they go, there are two possibilities of this game. One's a tiebreaker for the division lead, and one's just to get into the playoffs. And that'll happen if the Rangers win tomorrow and clinch. Then the Astros and Angels will have to go into that one game, not a playoff game, but the extra regular season tiebreaker.
Okay, let me see if I got this right, Jamie. So, if the Rangers win tomorrow, no matter what anyone else does, they win the division.
Yeah.
If the Astros win tomorrow and the Rangers win, then the Rangers still win the division, and the Astros will get the second wild card place.
Yes.
And the Angels are out.
Yes.
And if the Yankees lose tomorrow and the Astros win tomorrow, then they'll actually tie the Yankees for a wild card, and I think they have the tiebreaker. So they, in fact, will host the wild card game if the Yankees lose. Okay, now it gets interesting if the Rangers actually lose. If the Rangers lose and the Astros win, then there'll be a tie for the division, and there'll be a playoff, game 163, between the Rangers and the Astros that I think the Rangers will host, or the Astros will host. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But whoever wins that game will be win the division, and whoever loses that game will have to play the Yankees in the wild card game, and then whoever wins that then plays whoever the division champion was. And so how do the Angels get into this? So the Angels can only get in if the Astros lose.
And if they win.
And the Angels beat the Rangers. And if that happens, then the Rangers will still win the division championship because the Astros will have lost. But then the Angels will need to play the Astros in a one-game playoff to see who makes the second wild card. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. So it's still pretty exciting. All those games are still meaningful. In the National League, it's all played out now. The Mets somehow lost both ends of the doubleheader today, and the Dodgers behind Zach Greinke won. So now there's no way the Mets can catch the Dodgers for home field advantage. So it's all set. The Dodgers will host the first two games of the NLDS. Uh, the only excitement of the day was Matt Scherzer pitching a second no-hitter of the season, which only four other players have done. So he's the fifth one to pitch two no-hitters in the same season. And the first since Nolan Ryan since 1978. But although, and I don't know why people don't count this, because this is actually an even bigger feat. Roy Halladay in one season pitched a no-hitter in the regular season, and in the same perfect game, and then in the playoffs, he actually pitched a no-hitter in the same season. So, that to me should definitely count as part of two in one season, and that's probably
even more impressive.
that's probably the best achievement out of any of them. But Scherzer was on fire today. The Mets did play in the second game of the doubleheader, kind of their second B team.
You can't exactly blame that, though, because the Mets have scored exactly one run in the last 36 innings. Now, of course, the 86 team, as you were pointing out this afternoon, Dad, or noon today, the 86 team lost their, what was that statistic?
I think they lost 7 of the last 8 games.
7 of the last 8 games. But remember, the big difference, though, is the 86 team won 100-something games. I think it was 107.
Yeah, so the Mets are stumbling here now into the playoffs. I think they've lost 5 in a row. But
hopefully this broadcast will turn things around.
That's right. The Mets have an amazing record since Metro Sports Network has started broadcasting to you. And this past week, unfortunately, because of a busy schedule, we actually did not do broadcasts, as you probably know, during the week, and we're doing a short one today. But hopefully the Mets will turn it around. It wasn't for lack of trying in the second game. In the ninth inning, Terry Collins got both Cespedes and Duda to pinch hit to try to prevent the no-hitter from Scherzer. It was only a 2-0 game, so Mets still could have won the game. But Scherzer incredibly struck both of them out, and that was his 8th and 9th strikeout in a row. So he had 17 strikeouts. He had 9 in a row. Granderson would have been the 10th. If he had gotten Granderson, he would have tied, ironically, Tom Seaver's record of 10 strikeouts in a row. But Granderson popped up to end the game. And the game featured a record 35 strikeouts between both teams. So Matt Harvey, who started the game, also had a great pitching game. He went 6 strong innings, 11 strikeouts, only gave up 4 hits, and 1 unearned run. Kelly Johnson was playing third base, a position he doesn't play that often. Unfortunately, Uribe is still hurt, so I think Uribe might have gotten the start at third if he wasn't hurt. Kelly Johnson got the start at third. He made an error there, and unfortunately that was Harvey's lone run that he let in. And then the Nationals got another insurance run off Robles, but that was it. But you got to tip your hat to Scherzer. He had a great game today. He was completely on. But too late for the Nationals, obviously. Okay, so tomorrow's game not that meaningful, but DeGrom is going to pitch. I think he'll pitch a few innings, but DeGrom's already been announced as the Game 1 starter. I think the way that the Mets are going to set up their rotation is DeGrom, and then probably Syndergaard, who's had 2 great starts in a row, and then Harvey. That way, they leave the possibility open of using a 3-man rotation if they need to, because DeGrom could go on short rest in Game 4, and Syndergaard could go on regular rest in Game 5. Harvey, who's only going to be able to pitch 1 game because of his agent, his innings limit, will just get the ball in Game 3. But of course, it's best of 5 series, so it'll definitely go to 3 games at least. So Harvey, of course, will be pitching in a meaningful game. So hopefully that's how the Mets line up their rotation. Whether DeGrom goes in Game 4, or whether Bartolo Colon gets the start, or whether Steven Matz, who is still nursing a sore back, will get the start. I think it really depends on, number one, whether Matz is back at all, and if he's not, then he may not even make the roster because if he can't pitch. At least for the NLDS, he may not be there.